Hey, finally let's learn Python. Now I use REPL, which is the best online editor that I found. So if you are into an online editor, you can write your first Python code. Now before into learning new language, you have to learn all the syntax. Python is very easy language. That is, it has no syntax issues. Like in Java, you have somewhat issues. In C or C++ and in other languages. But in Python, you just need coding, which is your logic. Before writing your first code, you have to maintain your syntax. So what are data types? Data types are all type of grammar, like say our Python's grammar. And to hold our Python's grammar, we need variables that are the data types placeholders. Now we can assign any sort of name to a variable. Let's say I have a mango. Now this name mango can be a variable. Also let's say I have another variable of Titanic. Now this name Titanic can also be a variable. And now it depends on you about your choice of a particular word. Now the work of this variable is to hold data. So let's learn about the data types following into our Python. Into Python there are various data types which are falling under category of numerical, alphabetical, which are strings, and also mappings as well as collections. Now without any further talking, let's jump into coding. So here I can write our first data type, which is integer. So let's assign a number. Let's say it is a variable name, so I can write here number is equal to a integer. Now the integer is just a number starting from minus range to positive range to the infinity, which is minus infinity to plus infinity. So let me wear my spectacles first so I can see it. Okay, so the next thing is about the float. So I can write here a float. Now the float will contain a decimal value, so I can write here 45.0, which is 45.0. Moving up next is a complex one, so I can write here complex, which is complex is equal to 45j. Now this 45j is an imaginary number. Now you know complex theory better than me. Now the next is storing some alphabetical values, so which are string. So I can write here string to be under any name, let's say Abhishek. Now this is a string data type. Moving up next is a collection of data for storing a large collection of data. Now can you use tuples, lists as well as sets accordingly, and we are going to study them in just 5 minutes. Let's say a collection one, which are vast, and the next one is the dictionary itself, and we can simply write dictionary to be under the key value pair, and it will contain a key and similarly a value. So these are just the names of the data types. So now let's learn them in a proper way. So moving up for string, if I have a string is equal to, let's say Abhishek. Now you can simply play with your string as much you want. Let's say this string variable is a placeholder for this data, which is Abhishek. Now we can do one thing, that is print the string by just typing string, and if I simply run it, you will see our output of Abhishek. Now you can also do one thing, that is slice your string accordingly. That is, if I want only values till I can do the following things. So to do that, I can simply write square brackets after the variable name and giving it a colon. Now this square bracket will take a starting index as well as ending index. So the starting index will be always 0 if you want to recur your string from the starting value, and from 0 if I want to recur till h. So I can write here 3 from 0 to 3, and if I simply run it, you can see APH. You can also do one thing, that is you can mark it in a negative index, and if I run it again once, you will see ABHI, and it will leave the letters which are from negative index from the negative side. So this was the string. Now the another data type is boolean that we have forgot to mention in our list. So we can simply declare a boolean by writing any variable name, and the default value of the boolean will be true unless the value will be, like for a particular data set, will be false. So the value will always be true or false accordingly. So the another one is integer. Now the integer will contain minus infinity to plus infinity numbers of all numbers, and the float, which is float, will contain numerical value which will have a decimal points, which is like 45.0, like anything sort of thing. And we generally don't use complex for any sort of operations because it is complex itself. So here I can write 45j. This is simply a complex number. Now these are all the basic data types, and you can also do one thing, that is assign some different values to a different data type, that is casting the data type into each other. So to mention it example, let's say we have an integer of n1 to be, let's say 45. Now we can do one thing, that is print the type of n1. If I simply run it, we will see an integer here which is of class int. Now we can also do one thing, that is convert this integer into float. So to do that, we can simply write n2 to be the float, and under this float we can write the variable which is n1, and if I simply print n2, that is type of n2, we will be seeing a float which is of class float, and if I simply print instead of type, if I simply print n2 coming out of these brackets, if I simply print n2, you will see 45.0, which is a decimal thing. So this is a casting between your data types, which comes in handy where performing some complex operations that you have to be compatible with a particular data type. So moving on, next is a collection of data type. Now the collection of data comes handy for storing a large number of data, which may be like thoroughly real life data, and Python supports many data types which are tuples, lists as well as sets. So let's learn them one by one. So the first one is list itself. So you can simply declare a list by writing the variable name for the list is equal to under square brackets, let's say 1 2 3 4 5, and you can simply print your list. So if I simply print it and run it once, you will see our list, which is 1 2 3 4 5. Now we can do one thing, that is play with your list. So to add values in your list, you can simply write list dot append, and you can append your value, let's say 400, and if I simply print my list once, the value shall get appended at the end of the list. Now I can also do one thing, that is remove your items. So I can write here list dot remove, and we can remove the particular value between it. So let's remove 5 and also print it once. So if I print out our list and run it again, you can see the value of 5 is removed from the end index. Now remember one thing, that is lists are ordered, they can be changed. Now tuple and sets can be changed, that they are immutable, but the list is mutable, that we can change the values between it. Now you can also do one thing, that is change your value at a particular index. So we can do one thing, that is type the variable name of the list squared brackets and the index where we will have to change the value. Now the index of any particular list or any collection of Python will start from 0, that is 0 and moving onward. So at the 0th index, which is 1, let's change it to my name, which is Abhishek, and if I simply print our list, if I type here list and I run it, you will see that at the 0th index, which is at the starting of the list, my name is appended. Now we can also do one thing, that is append our list at the 4th place, which is at the 3rd index, and if I simply run it, it will be appended at the 4th index. And you can also slice your list, which is unavailable in the case of tuples as well as sets. So if I slice my list, let's say only from 0 to 3, and assign this slicing to a variable, let's say sliced list is equal to list, and if I simply print out my slice list, we will be getting values only till 3, which is 1 2 3. Now this 3 is different than the array index. Now this refers to position, as well as the array index, that is from 0 index refer to the index itself. So this is slicing in list. Now we can perform any sort of operation on list. So I can write here list dot, and after pressing dot, that is a pointer, you can see all the operations that you can perform on your list. So let's try to pop our list. Now if I simply pop it out, the element, that is the item which is at the end of the list, shall be removed automatically. So if I simply print my list again once, now the 5 will get removed at the end of the list. So we will get in 1 2 3 4. Now let's try another one. So if I simply press it, clear our list, so we can simply clear our list as well. So if I simply press run, we will be getting an empty list, because this clear operation will be removing each and every data which is in our list. So this was our list, which is just a collection of items where the items can be accessed, sliced as well as added or removed accordingly, and the list is ordered as well as it's mutable, that is the values in it can be changed. Now moving up to our next data type, which is a collection of data type. So let's study about tuples. So I can write here tuple 1 is equal to, now this variable will take a tuple. Now we can simply write a tuple by writing round corners of brackets. So I can write here 1 2 3 4, and if I simply print my tuple by typing simply print it and run our following code, we will be getting a tuple of element. Now here we have our tuple of element. So now let's check all the methods that are accessible on our tuple. So we can simply write tuple 1 dot. Now you will see here only 2 methods are accessible, and all these methods downside are dunder methods, which are magical methods, and they come handy when we are instantiating our new class and instantiating our object instance. Now this is like for this tutorial, now this range. So we can only see non-render methods, which are these both of them. So we can simply count any particular value between it. So let's say we have more numbers here. We can count our number of 4s. So I can write here count is equal to tuple1 dot count, and if I simply print our count variable, which counts the number of values, it is 7. Now let's move on to next, which is index. Now let's check the index of 1. So if I simply print it out, we will be getting 0 as an output, because 1 is as the 0th index. Now tuple provides us most restrictions than other data types will provide us, because tuples are immutable, that is, they cannot be changed, and tuples are mostly handy when we are assigning dictionary values. Like tuples are assigned for the key value, so that they cannot be changed, and the values of dictionary can be changed. But you can also do one thing, that is to add multiple items. We can do one thing, that is list1, to be like casting the tuple in our list1. So I can write here tuple1, and you can perform similar operation on list1 that we have done before. So you can do one thing, that is append an object here. So to append an object, you can simply write 100, and if I simply print our list1, the tuple shall be printed out likewise we do in our list1. Now this is one of the magic trick that I like to perform, playing with tuples. So to initialize sets, you can simply write set1. Now the set will be initialized in a curly brackets. So in a curly brackets, we can write 1 2 3 4, that is 1 2 3 4, and you can simply print it out. So if I print it out by set1 and run it, you will be seeing our set. Now our set is unordered and unindexed, that is, the values in it cannot be changed, but we can add new value. So let's do one thing, that is assign some new values to it. So I can write set1 dot add. Now this add will only add a single value. Let's say add 400. Now to add multiple values between our set, we can write here set1 dot update, and after update you can add many values as you want. Let's say
it was at this moment that he knew
3000,
he fucked up.
And if I simply print my set once again by doing this and run it once, we will be getting an error because inter object is not iterable. It's cool. So there are also restrictions over your set. So let's try to play it once again. Now you can also do one thing, that is pop your item from your set by typing print set1, and if I simply run it, now here values are getting removed, but they are unordered, unindexed. That is in case of list. While popping our list, the values are getting popped at the end of the list, but here you can see that the values can be popped from anywhere. That is it's unordered, and unindexed. So this was set. Now let's try to perform some other operations, like say you can also do one thing, that is clear entire set, and if I simply print it out, our set will be get cleared. Now you are thinking, dude, what the work of the set against one? Now you can also use list for your entire thing, but no, list won't give you the options of the following things, which are disjoint and etc., which are differences, intersection and disjoint, which is only available in sets, and most of the data scientists use these sets for performing mathematical operations. So at that cases, sets comes more handy to us. So to percolate it once more, we can simply write set1 dot. Now let's try to remove our item for a particular index. Now you are getting the point, like you can perform various operations on any particular collection of objects just by typing dot, and you will be getting all the methods that are instantiated furtherwards. So I can remove the value of 4 from it, and if I simply print out my set1, that is set1, and if I run it once, the value will be getting removed. So this was set. Now remember things, set are unindexed and unordered, that is the values in it can be added but they cannot be changed. So for that example, let's do one thing, that is at the 0th index, let's do one thing, that is add 100, and if I try to print it out, that is our set1, and if I run it against one, we will be getting error, that is set does not support order assignment. So remember one thing, if you want to change your data accordingly, you can use list. Now if you are working with some major data, that is some real life data of any like person age, birth, or any like speed etc., you can use tuples so that they are not changeable. And if you are using with mathematical operations, you can use sets, because sets supports various operations like intersection, disjoint etc. So moving on your final data type, which is dictionary. Now dictionaries are used mostly when we are working with mapping. So let's add a dictionary of dictionary1 to be in a curly brackets just like our set. Now here it will take a key and similarly a value. So what it means it by that, so let's add a key here. So I can add a key of a string type, that is name, and here it will take either a list of elements or you can provide a single element. So let's add Abhishek, and here I can type age as a key and it will take now any data type you want to provide. So age comes in integer, so I can write here my age, which is 19. Now if I simply print my dictionary, that is dictionary1, which is dict1, and run it out, you will be getting a dictionary which is of name and Abhishek, which is my name, which is a key value, key and value. Now you can also fetch a particular key or value between it. So if I simply write dict1, and here if I simply try to fetch a name and run it, it will fetch only the value of a particular key, and here key is name and its value is Abhishek, and you can simply fetch the value of age and the result will be 19. Now here our answer is up, that is we have getting our value of the particular key. Now you have got the idea of dictionary, that it's contain a key as well as value, which is mostly used for handling data science things. Now let's try to play with our dictionary. So I can write here dict1 dot. Now let's get all the keys from our value and assign it some variable. So I can write here keys to be dict1 dot keys, and you can simply print it out our keys. And here if I simply run it once, we will be getting all our keys that our particular dictionary holds. Now you can also do it for values as well, and if I run it once, our values will be getting in the form of list, which is under the squared brackets. Now let's move up, so we can also do one thing, that is type dict1 dot. Now let's try to, for example, clear our dictionary, and if I simply print our dict1, our dictionary will be cleared. So here if I run it once, we are getting an empty dictionary. Cool. And let's play another one. So copy it once, let's say dict2 is equal to this thing, and if I simply print out dictionary2, we will be getting same output, that is you can perform any sort of operation on dictionaries as well. Now this tutorial is going quite long, so you can do one thing, that is play as much you want with your data types. Now I have explained you what particular data types means. Okay, let's clear it. So the particular data types means, that is you can, if you want some integer value, you can play with int, for float, and for complex string you can use complex. Now in the terms of collection of atoms, you can use tuples, list and sets accordingly. Now if you want your data type to be unchanged and unordered, you can use sets, and if you want your collection to be like particularly like setted, that is cannot be changed, you can use tuple, and if you want your data type to be changed and ordered accordingly, you can use list, and for assigning some key value pairs, you can use dictionary. So these were all the data types that we will be using in our further Python tutorials. Now if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing, because this channel covers all the tech stack of Flutter, AWS, Kaggle as well as Python. You can also ask your queries to me on my following social media handles. So I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.